What's up, guys? Babagar here, and I'm doing a deck tech for what is a pretty simple deck. It's mono white Oketra's Monument for modern, named after its namesake card. And I guess let's go over the namesake card first, just to give you an idea of the idea of the deck. So the idea of the deck is mostly going to be flood the board with 1/1s for super cheat. Oketra's Monument reads, when you white creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. It's important to know this is legendary, so you can only have one on the field. And whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. So that's what that does. You can imagine that as long as you have like 2 or 3 drop white creatures, you can pour them out pretty quickly and then also get a whole bunch of tokens out. And then what are we going to... So how are we going to build this deck? So first off, the mana base, really simple. 20 planes. And then 2 Westvale Abbeys down here, mostly to give us an alternate win condition if we are against somebody who's just depriving us of all our resources. Gives us another way to put out creatures on the field, pay 5, tap, and create a 1/1. And then you can also turn it into Ormondal to finish off games a lot of the time. So I like this as like a 2 of. I don't think I'd want it as more than that, but as a 2 of, it's not too bad. Then the 1-drops. So one of the themes in the deck is going to be life gain. So we have Soul Warden. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life. And Soul Attendant is basically the same thing. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may gain 1 life. Pretty much the same. This one you don't have to do if you don't want to, but pretty much always want to anyway. They're both 1/1s for 1 that basically gain you a life whenever a creature enters the battlefield. And then the last 1-drop, Thraven Inspector, just gives us a little extra draw in the game. 1/2 for 1. When it comes into the play, you create a clue token that you can destroy for 2 mana and draw a card. Alright, so that's the 1-drops. 2-drops is where it starts to get interesting. Our best go tall threat. So we're mostly a go wide deck. We have one really good go tall threat in Ajani's Pridemate. Whenever you gain life, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Ajani's Pridemate. So as you could think, with Soul's Attendant and Soul Warden, you're going to get a lot of +1/+1 counters on Ajani's Pridemate very, very quickly. That's why he's in the deck. Combo super well with them. Also, obviously, just works relatively well with the Oketra's Monument. Oketra's Monument means you can dump out more creatures faster to trigger Soul's Attendant and Soul Warden more. So it's just part of the little mini life gain theme. Next up, Squadron Hawk, kind of a classic white weenie card. 2 mana, 1/1 flyer. Can be nice to get into planeswalkers and things like that, especially if the ground starts getting clogged up. Like, we do a pretty good job clogging up our ground as long as our opponent doesn't have flyers. A lot of times the Squadron Hawks are a reasonable win condition. And in addition to being a 1/1 flyer for 2, when you cast it, you may search your library for up to 3 other cards named Squadron Hawk. So very quickly, we can just get a whole bunch of Squadron Hawks to play. All of those, when we play them, will also trigger Oketra's Monument, and this will only cost 1 mana with Oketra's Monument, so we can dump out a lot of Squadron Hawks very quickly. It also thins our deck of these Squadron Hawks a little bit so we can get more mana, which can be useful. 4 Wall of Omens kind of doesn't fit the theme of the deck a little bit in the sense that it's very defensive, and we don't have that much other defensive stuff, but it's not bad. 0/4 Defender for 2. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. So mostly we're just using it to draw a few extra cards, hopefully hit our monuments and our mentors we'll talk about later. Those are the things that kind of help us grind out games. This is a kind of a grindy white weenie deck. It's not super aggro. It's more like eventually you'll just have such a big board and so much life that your opponent will just have no chance against you, and you can just swing in with 40 1/1 tokens. That's kind of the idea. White Mane Lion is good for a bunch of reasons. One, you can hold it up as a combat trick to save one of your guys from combat because it's a flash creature, 2/2 flash. When it enters the battlefield, return creature you control to its owner's hand. So just off the bat, pretty good. But what makes it really good in this deck is, well, it costs 1 mana with Oketra's Monument, and it can also target itself with the return effect. So because it has flash, we can wait to the end of our opponent's turn or when they're in mid-combat after they've attacked, and play this for 1 mana, make a 1/1 off of Oketra's Monument, return it back to hand, pay 1 mana again to make another 1/1, and it basically lets us make as many 1/1s as we want for 1 mana apiece. So very good for that effect. Definitely worth having 4 in the deck for that. I'm running 2 Selfless Spirits. This is just to protect against sweepers and to have another flying threat, since a lot of times the ground will gum up the ground well, but getting 3 damage in the air is important. So 2 of those just to protect our team. And then the last 2-drop, 3 Honor the Pure. What creatures you control get +1/+1. That's all of our creatures, including the ones we make with Oketra's Monument. a little bit of a nombo with the Mentor of the Meek, who we'll talk about in a second, but otherwise very, very good. And then final card in the deck is Mentor of the Meek. Mentor of the Meek is a 2/2 for 3, so not a super good rate, but whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. So the reason this is good is one of the things that this deck can do is run out of gas, which is part of the reason we have the Inspector and Wall of Omens to give us a little extra draw. But Mentor of the Meek just gives us repeatable draw, and if you have a Monument out already, it turns every creature you play into a draw 2, as long as you're willing to spend an extra 2 mana for those 2 draw steps. This can be really helpful, help you find the white main lions, so you can do that loop I talked about, turn 1 mana into 1 creature, help you find Honor of the Peers if you need to push through damage, although it is a little bit of a number with Mentor of the Meek, because if you have a couple Honor of the Peers out, all of your creatures are going to enter with more than 2 power, but still at the point where you have 2 or 3 Honor of the Peer out, so you probably don't even need Mentor, you're probably just winning anyway. So that's pretty much the whole deck. It's kind of a grindy, mid-range, mono-white deck. It feels like it should be aggro just because it's so weenie, but it ends up pushing much more towards mid-range because Oketra's Monument and Mentor of the Meek are where it gets its real power, and those are much more mid-rangey cards. But yeah, I like playing it a lot. I think you're going to have a blast watching the matches. So I'm going to jump into some matches and show that to you right now. Thank you guys for watching.